What's up, everybody? Ruben Garcia and
Amanda Garcia.
And we own the Carolina Traveling Marshmallow. And as most of you know, the craziness that happened from our last video, I'll put a link somewhere if you need to catch up and check it out. It was a journey. It was a journey. So now what we're doing is we wanted to do kind of a follow-up video after coming back from the trip, the cross-country trip. We'll talk about what did we like best, what did we not like best, and basically the cost. And we'll break it down to a daily cost, but basically the cost of the whole thing. We are going on an adventure. Ain't that right?
Oh yeah.
Yes, we are. We're about to fly out, go to Oregon, but best friends, check it out. What's up? Ah! She's taking us to the airport right now, and then we are, flying out. I think only 2 stops.
Yep.
We were supposed to fly out yesterday. We weren't able to fly out yesterday because tornado warnings hit yesterday. So we had to switch everything over. Lower $50 to do everything.
I'll cut you out.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, we heading out. Bye-bye. Hello. So, I just wanted to do this quick little video about basically asking you, how do you think this is gonna go? How do you think it's gonna go?
I think thumbs up.
Yeah. And great.
Yeah?
It's gonna be interesting for sure.
I have a feeling we're gonna run into maybe 2 major-ish issues. That's my biggest guess of what's gonna happen.
Weather.
But it might be absolutely perfect. What do you
We'll
think?
see. We'll see
But
about the weather.
The weather, yeah.
But if
Check
you,
out our mural behind us though. We're in Eugene.
We are in Eugene.
but if you want to send a video to us, you can.
That's true.
That is true.
All right, check it out. I'm gonna show you this, and then we're gonna take our 1-hour Uber to the mechanic shop to get this party started, pick up our RV, head out. First thoughts, we're back. Oh my gosh. Holy moly. You know, I could tell the universe is looking out for us. Oh yeah.
Oh, too.
Woo. So when we first got the RV back, I left it in drive. Remember that?
Yeah, he was ready to take off, sitting up at the driver's seat, and I was like, you might want to see this. So he hopped back there to look at what I was showing him, and it started moving. It's like, what?
I was like, what's that sound?
We're moving.
We were moving in the parking lot, and it's not a large parking lot. Just the RV was moving forward. I was like, oh crap. So I jumped in the driver's seat, put it in park. I was like, man, this is starting off a crazy trip already. But what did you find in the cabinet?
A mouse nest.
A mouse nest.
So I shared that we had found something interesting inside, and it was a little, well, there was no mice there that we could find. We tried a trap just to make sure. I think that's still in there. But yeah, there's definitely all of the findings of things they left behind and the insulation and all the stuff they pulled out. They had a little nest.
Yep, had a little nest. We put a trap in there first night, and not one that kills the animal, okay? One that captures and we can release safely, but we never found anything. So we put it in that spot. We put it in another spot. So it didn't catch anything. So that was good. There was a broken cabinet door that broke in half while we were, I believe, driving down the road.
Driving down the road, and the bottom fell off, and then the middle part slid down.
Slid right out. We had scratches on the back of the dining room seating area.
Behind the driver's seat.
Yep, pretty bad scratches. And then we had a broken bunk drawers. So our bunk beds, the drawers at the bottom.
Yeah, there's a panel that the drawers are in, and the panel's just falling off. That's falling off.
As you may have saw, the fender started coming off too. Or it's not really a fender more than it is like a like an extra trim that goes over the fender.
Yeah.
But that was
flailing in the wind
while we were driving on our way to go pick up some groceries. So I had to tape that down.
It looked almost like they tried to, it was like there were 4 screw holes in the seat behind the driver's seat. Like there had been something hanging there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
The bathroom door was broken.
Yeah, the screw had come out where it holds the, like the little slide panel in. And so every time the door closed, it was just shaving out part of the door. So now there's a big gap in it.
And then the big one, which our RV right now is at Camping World, because there's something wrong with the electrical.
Yeah. Probably what? Was it 3 or 4 of the outlets?
Yeah, it didn't work. Don't work. So the USB did next to it, but the actual thing that you would plug any other appliance or charging whatever in did not work. Our charge tower didn't work. So we got them looking at the electrical side. So welcome to RV renting, right? This is part of the process. We talk about and document this process.
Good times.
Yep. Yeah. So let's get into the States. Remember, we picked it up in Oregon. We drove all the way back to North Carolina. But the path that we took wasn't the shortest path back to North Carolina. Why?
Because it was cold and icy and snowy. And we were trying to avoid the snow as much as possible.
Yep. And I'd say we did good the first few days. But we went south. So we picked it up in Oregon and drove down the coast of California, trying to go as south as possible to avoid this icy, cold, wind, snowy storm.
Yeah.
You know? Because we were scared. We didn't want to slide around on a 32-foot megaton Class C, you know? Y'all seen that maybe viral video of the fire truck going down the hill? You've seen that? It hit ice. It is like doing like 360s and makes it right between 2 houses. It slams into a car.
Dang.
But I was like, I don't want to be that, you know? So let's go south. So the first day with the RV, to break down some numbers, and then like I said, we're going to go through the states. Collectively, put in your guess now. How much was our very first day? Now, what I want to say is this was airport tickets. This was the hotel room. This was groceries. Food at the airport. The lift to take us from the airport to the hotel, which was how long? It wasn't that long.
15, 20 minutes.
About 15, 20 minutes. And then the lift to then take us to go.
Day 1 and 2.
Yeah, day 1.5.
Yeah. Yeah, the lift. It was about a 50-minute drive from our hotel to the...
How much was your guess? Just guess now. Put it in the comments below if you want to. You probably won't. The amount was $1,699.29. Day 1.5. We're like, this sucks. Like, holy moly, this is going to cost them a good grip. But I will say, at the end, we're going to give you the full amount. That was the biggest portion throughout the whole trip, I would say. And then we met this really cool cat while we were leaving. We were still in Oregon. We were leaving Oregon. He was an Army vet. We met him he scared the crap out of me because I pulled up at a gas station. I didn't realize they come and pump for you. So she's
like, there's a guy outside your window.
It's a guy outside your window.
She just walked right up.
And I was like, and he's a big bearded dude too. Really cool cat. He kept up with us throughout the whole trip. He would text me like, y'all make it, y'all make it. But it scared the crap out of me. I didn't show it. I looked tough.
He was like, ah!
I was like, ah! But anyways, great dude. If you're watching this, yeah, you're going to watch this. Going to pass you the video. Thanks for all your help, man. You were super helpful. Told us some cool places to go.
We took that path.
Places not to go.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. But real quick about Oregon, what are some of the pros as we drove through, which wasn't too long?
Yeah, we weren't in Oregon too long. It was pretty. It's very cold, but it was rainy when we were there. So I guess that's not
rain the whole time. It was gorgeous though. One thing that shocked me is all the sheeps. You guys have sheep everywhere. All the sheep. I'm from North Carolina, right? Y'all had sheeps? Do you ever use us? All right, y'all had sheep everywhere. That was interesting to me. I was like, what do y'all do with these sheep? Cool, eat them, but cool, do you use wool too? Like the whole thing. I was talking to the Lyft driver. He didn't know. He didn't know. I was like, I don't know why we got so much sheep. So I thought that was interesting. And then, yeah, the mountains. The mountains were gorgeous, man, because of the snow tops.
Yeah.
That was gorgeous.
I have a hard time separating where Oregon ended and California began, but
I was taking notes on my phone. And then California. What are your thoughts on California?
I love California.
She
I
loves
didn't think I'd say that, but oh my gosh. The one thing that I wanted to do, if nothing else on this trip, was to see the redwoods. And they did not disappoint.
No.
It was awesome.
Yep. As a good man, I drove my wife through the redwoods.
Mm-hmm. That was also the path to the least
As a good man,
of least resistance.
The redwoods were absolutely amazing. California, y'all got some political stuff y'all need to handle. Taxes, gas, like all that.
Oh, yeah.
But gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
The mountains, the redwoods, just the wide open plains, and then we had the huge windmills that were going, and
yep.
It was very pretty.
It felt like, and we were driving, because we drove down the coast, so it felt like Vikings were about to take over.
Oh, in the water.
The
like,
water with the huge rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was still kind of rainy, so it was like windy, and the waves were crashing. I was like, we're about to hear like a war horn from some ship that's about to come. I mean, it was crazy. And then you felt like the dinosaurs were there in the redwoods, because the redwoods were so huge, and magical.
Oh, and then they had a Trees of Mystery.
Yep.
Was a place there we just happened upon. We were driving down Redwood Highway, I think is what it was called. And you see a huge was it Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox statue, and I was like, well, we have to stop here. And it was called Trees of Mystery, so you can actually do I don't know, it's not really a zip line, but just like a
tour in the trees,
through the tops of the redwoods. I was like, but it was like rainy and we were kind of on a time crunch and stuff, and I was like, okay, we're coming back for that, because it would be so cool. It
was cool. They had a lot of Indian stuff there too. The moss was so bright. You remember that?
Yeah.
The moss was extremely bright. I was like, it's like a neon almost. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Notice that. Also, y'all have no roadkill.
Yeah. He commented on that quite a bit.
I was like, in North Carolina,
literally like not one.
There's cats, possums, dogs. I don't know. Deer, of course. Yeah, we got deer. What else? I'm sure you got frogs. Skunks. Raccoons. Dead. Everywhere. There's death everywhere. But no, I don't know if they just have a great cleanup crew or the animals are crazy smart and they're like, I ain't crossing that. It's crazy. No roadkill. That was a plus. This is where I made my makeshift rain jacket in the woods, because I didn't pack it, because if you know me, I pack in a backpack and that's it. Yeah. And it worked. Yeah. Also what?
That was on a separate note, but the moth.
We have California people checking our RV out, making sure we don't have a certain moth.
Gypsy moths.
The gypsy moth. Making sure we don't have a gypsy moth. And that's as soon as we got into California.
I was like,
we haven't been in but 13 seconds.
It just said it was stopped. Roadside inspection. As we were entering, had just crossed the state line, or we're coming to the state line of California from Oregon. And we had to go through a checkpoint. And we're like, of course, our tags were like...
Oh, yeah. Our tags were expired.
So I was like, well,
by the way, we made it.
We already got caught.
But, I mean, as soon as we hit Cali, and you know our thoughts already about Cali before we, go through it. We're like, of course. Yeah. The government's already stopping us. Like, what are we doing, It
was for a moth, but it was like preservation... something, I can't think of what they were called, but the department it was.
It was serious. They shut down the whole road. You
literally had to go through, and they had to inspect your vehicle for a gypsy moth, because apparently they're like super destructive to the trees out there. So
yeah, they were like, "Do you have anything citrus on board?" I was like, "No."
She listed some fruits, and we didn't have any.
She didn't list an orange. Your boy had oranges.
Ironic, because that's the first citrus fruit I think of. But
she didn't list it, so I said I have none of that. I'm sorry if you're watching, by the way. The elk were walking around like deer.
Yeah.
And just
find
chilling.
Huge fields of them. They were just
hanging out.
Yeah.
That was cool. Never eaten elk, if any of you want to pass one my way. Drivers know how to drive in the rain in California. We do have an issue here in North Carolina. It's very slow drivers in the rain, but
I think they got to know what they're doing.
dude,
out
they
there.
killed it. I was like, oh, I love this. So positive things. Love the long straight roads, hawks everywhere, which for me is super cool. And you like hawks too. What are some of the cons?
Gas prices.
Gas prices were
like
terrible.
$5 to $6 a gallon.
Ridiculous.
Especially when you have a how many gallon tank?
30 plus, I think. Maybe 40. Probably a 40. I think a 40 gallon. So, and I wouldn't let it go below half a tank. Once I started seeing those long roads in California, and I mean, you were on.
Yeah, they wouldn't give you any warning. All of a sudden, you'd just be like in the middle of nowhere, and it'd be
Arizona
2 hours
too.
before you ever approached anything.
Life.
Like gas station.
Yeah.
Humans, anything. Like it was crazy.
So do not, here's a hint, do not allow it to go underneath a half a tank. You better top up every time, top up. And it saved our butt. And we're in an RV that probably averaged 8 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
So if we made it, you could make it. There's your hint for the day. But yeah, gas prices and these homeless cities, when we were actually rolled through I was blown away by like this, just looking over. After we got past Northern California was drop dead gorgeous. But as you start getting like Southern,
Yeah.
yo, it was crazy.
It
Like,
was. They're everywhere. Like huge like towns of homeless people.
yeah, cars, straight up cars that were built on. Y'all probably seen this before, but I haven't. I don't think you have. Like, it was shocking.
Not to that degree.
Nah, man, it was crazy. And it just trash everywhere in those places. So we were on the highway. We just looked over and kept on rolling. Arizona. Pros.
You got to see Rachel.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yep. I got to see Allie. Yep. Got to see Allie and Rachel. That was cool.
Cactus.
Cactus were tall and cool.
Cool.
I remember when we were rolling. It was crazy because as soon as we hit Arizona, we started seeing cactus. It was like that's where they decided to draw the line.
Yep.
Could have been a route that we took. Don't hate on us, California. But it was really, really cool to see that.
Pretty.
Yeah, it was awesome to see your friend. We hung out with them. We actually got to park there and save on staying somewhere like a KOA. They fed us amazing food. Great company. It was cool.
Yeah. And Arlie got to play, so that was good.
Yep, Arlie got to play. And then I got to see our friends for 20 minutes max.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Got to see their house. Their garage blew me away on the size of that thing. Maybe they are talking about renting out and buying an RV, so that was cool. We talked about that. It was cool, man. It was cool.
Yeah.
Then we hit the highway and took off. I really appreciated the long, was it 5 or 10?
It was 5 coming down California and then 10 across.
It was I loved it. Now, they said some people not so much like that, but I called it the 10 of reflection or something. The 5 of reflection or whatever it was. All I did was reflect, and it was cool to kind of just forced break.
Yeah.
And that's what that was. It was a forced break. These crazy long straight roads. Not even a slight. No, straight. What did you do?
I was saying, for those of you who are wondering, he drove the entire time.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know if it was more me being scared to drive or him being scared of me driving. That would have been fine, I think. Yeah, so I was kind of on everything duty. I was like entertaining Arlie and like helping her with stuff and then getting him stuff if he needed it and then trying to chill every few minutes because a 5-year-old on the road all day long.
She did good though.
She did do really good. And she didn't have any like toys really because she didn't pack that much. And of course I wasn't thinking at the time
because we
bring
flew
more.
for everyone.
Flew.
Yeah,
we didn't have a ton of space. But she did really good for being in the, literally on average, probably 7 to 8, probably 8 to 9 hours a day. We were in the car, in the RV. So she did really good.
And when we hit a spot to camp, it was nighttime. Yeah. So it's not like we could like explore daytime. Set up camp, and it took us 10 days overall. Excuse me, to get across the states, but we didn't take the short route. We went south to try to escape. So
and we did hope to explore a little bit more, I think, but it just got to a point we were trying to like beat the cold, and so we just kind of had to hurry up and we still didn't beat the cold. But,
nope. And we're about to get into that.
Yeah,
sure did not. Some of the cons about Arizona, the roads, man. As soon as I love the long, but I'm telling, as soon as I hit Arizona out of Cali, it was like, here's Cali, oh, this is nice. I'm having a good, this is great. As soon as I heard it, I was like, I was telling Allie that. I was like, man, what? That was a terrible first impression. And I'm terrified like it's going to blow a tire because it's not, it's like there's chunks missing out of the road.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to around. It eventually got better, but Arizona, still awesome, gorgeous. The mountains, the cactus, the rock. I mean, we don't see it often like that. You know, we're sand and grass here, so it was cool.
Yeah,
it was cool. Then we roll into New Mexico. It's when we first started hitting some green.
Yeah,
because everything was like brown. You know, we hit Northern California was green for sure, but it just started turning into desert, and then New Mexico had green.
Yeah,
and we're like, oh, cool. Remember, and then we went through the mountains, and it was like snowy, and we were hoping to see a moose.
Oh, was that New Mexico?
That was New Mexico. We're going through there.
It was pretty. That's where the snow, and they had a ski resort out there.
Yep.
It was pretty.
It was really cool. And then it was crazy because the mountains then turned into just straight up land. Like I was trying to tell someone.
Like ended.
You couldn't see. Yeah, it just ended. And then you couldn't see the end of the land. It was literally like when you're standing at the ocean and you're looking out into it and it just kind of blends in with the horizon. Literally the land was doing that. No life. It was just, that's all it was. I mean, there was a fence that went kind of on the side of the road. Yeah, down the highway, but not life.
Yeah.
It was
a very, very, very
hours.
Very long time.
And then we'd hit these small towns that were extremely small. I mean, probably a neighborhood. There's neighborhoods here bigger than the towns that were there. The whole town.
Yeah.
And
we just couldn't quite figure out like how they support themselves or what they do, or
there wasn't a hospital. There wasn't a cop station, no grocery store. It was the wild west.
Yeah. I'm like, it looks just like straight out of a movie. Like I don't know. It's a whole different world.
Had to be some type of barter system in these small towns where, you know, you do cucumbers, you know, and we'll do some livestock over here and then we'll trade it. And then when someone gets sick, just tough it out.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was wild to see that that's still happening. And I know there's all kinds of crazy stuff happening all over the world, but if you just don't escape your area for too long, you kind of forget that even the United States isn't on that level of just infrastructure.
Right.
So that's New Mexico. I actually didn't write down a con. There wasn't really any con. I didn't find out any cons. Not on the highway. I never, went all around New Mexico, but did you?
Yeah. No, I think just kind of that. It was just like long story. It was a hard transition from like the beauty from Northern California to just nothing. Like, I mean, it was...
For me, it was cool.
I mean, he was driving, so I could, like, do other things, but...
It was cool.
It definitely made it go faster when there was just so much beauty to just
true.
Oh, what's coming next? What's that? Oh, look at that,
Yeah, this is when we started turning on the Bluetooth, and they were kicking it, watching a movie. So if you ever rent this thing out, you can do these things. You can watch your movie and all the things. Cool. And then Texas pros.
Sunset.
She's reading the document. I was telling this at our book club. If you're interested in a local book club, business stuff, great people, let me know. But so the sunset's never in. It was like hours and hours because of how flat the land was.
See forever.
It would take forever. So not a mountain, not a hill, not a tree was covering the sunset, not the way we were driving. And I thought that was mind blowing, and I loved it. It was like a human connect to the universe. You opened up a new portal in me. That's probably weird, isn't it?
Anyway,
moving on.
Yeah, gas was like half the price that it was in California. So.
Gas was amazing because they were pumping it out the ground there.
Oh yeah, the pumps were everywhere.
Hours. We would drive hours, and that's all you saw with those oil pumps. I don't know what they're called. That's all you would see. So we were like, oh, it's coming right here. So refine it, pushing it out.
We saw was that where we saw the Bonnie and Clyde?
I think so.
Where it was Bonnie's hometown.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to find her house, but I saw a house.
I had to do a U-turn.
I was saying something to Arlie, and he was like, "Oh, you just missed a Bonnie and Clyde sign." I'm like, "You have to turn around." I'm like, "I'm sorry."
I was like, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to turn around, but then I felt guilty. So I turned around, and then we tried. It was another small town. Then we tried like find it going down some streets and couldn't find it.
Oh, LA.
Louisiana.
I'm like, LA, we're back in
I'm from
California.
UPS.
Every
too.
time I say that, I'm think that. Okay.
The one thing I remember about Louisiana is that it started to turn into two things. We were caught in the ice in Louisiana.
That's true.
And you'll see video. I'm like, Arlie and I are like moving our feet. We hit the ice. So we couldn't escape it. It's when it finally touched us. But it started to honestly feel like North Carolina. Like there were pine trees, definitely East Coast. And from Louisiana on to North Carolina, it just felt like I was driving in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So it wasn't much of a change there in terms of like scenery. But we did, I guess the thing that I remember there is we hit the cold. And then there were a couple times we slid in the RV. I was like, you feel that? You feel that? Cops everywhere in Mississippi, in Louisiana. You probably see video of that too.
Yeah.
They were all over the place. So I was just like, ugh. And it's slippery. So you had to like really straighten up. State Highway Patrol was everywhere. But from there, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Welcome to North Carolina.
Yeah.
That's what
all
it felt
the
like.
Pine trees and
hit a couple Buckies. No, one.
Okay.
We hit one. We were going to hit
past a couple. Past another one, but yeah.
Yep.
Or two.
Yep. And that's it. You have anything? And I'm sorry, Georgia. I'm sorry, South Carolina. It just, for us, we've hit those states so many times.
Yeah.
And it just felt like North Carolina from Louisiana on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anything you want to throw out there before I give them the price? I'm about to drop the price of how much this whole trip costs. But before we get to that, what do you have to say?
Oh, the one other thing, just if you're trying to figure out how much we spent altogether, the second day that we were there, right after we picked up the RV, we had to go buy literally pretty much everything we would need for this trip because if you watched the other video, when the renters took it, they didn't want anything in it because they wanted to have space for their stuff and they weren't going to sleep in it. They were just going to drive it. So they didn't need any sheets, no towels, no anything. So we had to go buy literally everything we needed for the whole trip. So there's that. But overall, it was much less crazy, much less adventurous in a bad way than we kind of anticipated. We thought it was going to be a lot more rough, but it wasn't bad. And we had a good time and
and rent it because it wasn't that bad. It was a lot of fun. And if you're afraid you're going to get into an argument with your spouse, how many arguments did we get into?
Like 17.
Nah, whatever.
One
small spiff.
Yeah, he was being kind of a butthead.
I was being a little butthead, but that's one.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the whole time, and I think what it is collectively together, we're working towards one mission.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a kind of a teamwork and understanding in that, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was cool. No issues. It was actually a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. So rent out the RV. You will enjoy it too.
Yeah.
But the end amount, put it in the comments. Let us know. But that amount, do you want to say that amount? You got to say it nice and loud. Here's the amount of the whole 10-day trip.
$3,873.57.
Almost $4,000 for this trip to drive it back. But remember, we did have to supply it. There's tickets, there's plane tickets, there's hotel rooms, there's KOAs, gas.
How much was the gas?
Callie. I don't know. I should have broke that down. Oh, did I break it down?
You did at one point. It was either 16. It was 1,600.
Oh, probably around $1,600.
I think.
I don't remember. I'll put it in here later.
Nice.
But day, if you break that down, so it took us 10 days, 11 states. So we averaged about $387.36 a day. So almost $400 a day. And then outside of that, 11 states. So each state, if you average that out, was $352. So about $350 a state. $352.14. But yeah. This is what it's like to run a business sometimes. And sometimes you run into ridiculous people.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we figured we'd be transparent, tell the story, tell it how it was. I hope you guys enjoyed this and keep following the story. Go back, watch the other one if you haven't watched it, and subscribe to the channel because there will be more, I am sure. We got this thing now. So, yeah, and if there's any questions, concerns, if you're renting out your RV, let us know. Maybe there's some things we can help out with. Any last things you want to say before we let them go?
I don't think so. Just check it out. Check out the link. And if you know anybody looking to rent one, it's back on up for rent.
Yep, back on the market.
Yeah.
Adios.
See ya.
Bye-bye.